Welcome to the 4 essential coaching videos. If you're watching this video, either myself or one of my coaches has recommended you watch these 4 essential videos before you start your coaching journey. In this first video, we're going to be talking about the 3 different levels of intro awareness coaching. And as you can see, there's 3 different levels from the top to bottom. But we first must start at level 1, which is healing. In this level 1 healing aspect of coaching, this is for people who need to release anything from the past, including past trauma. Reprogramming any limiting beliefs. If you have any limiting beliefs that's holding you back with your relationships, with your finances, with any area of life, if anything is hampering you or limiting you, have an invisible mental ceiling, this is where we need to start and begin. We also can reframe distortions of reality. What does that mean? Well, reality has no meaning by itself, but other than the meaning we put to it. And if there's around 8 billion people on the planet, there's 8 billion perceptions of reality. And which one's correct, which one is true. In our coaching system, we talk about our internal mental aspects or mental points of view of the world. They're called internal representations in the coaching world. And our internal representations or our memories or beliefs about things aren't the real thing. We actually can look at a memory and we can change the color of that memory. We can remember us on the Ferris wheel, and we can actually stop that Ferris wheel within our mind, and we can move ourselves safely to the ground and watch ourselves on the Ferris wheel or watch ourselves when we're not on the Ferris wheel. So we can do that all with our minds. And that example is an example of trauma of memories. If there's any limiting beliefs or distortions of reality, we can actually change it at the root cause level, which would change the results and reactions and behaviors and the feelings in life. So PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or post-traumatic stress, is really nothing more than a person or a human being went through an experience that they didn't have the ability to fully process or experience. And the unconscious mind continues to bring up those internal memories, sounds, representations of that experience, which is not the real thing, but it feels real, but it's not the real thing. When a person was going through the PTSD, they recorded it within their mind, and there was memories, there was feelings, there was a lot going on, there was a lot of different senses. And there's a play button, there's a trigger to trigger any PTSD. Well, if we can get to the root cause, if a person is ready, willing, and able, the raw score is level 3, and we have permission, we work together and team up, we actually can get to that root cause. We can actually upgrade and change it and diminish or completely dissolve the PTSD. Depending on the severity of the PTSD and the willingness of the client is going to determine how long it's going to take to completely remove it, heal it, erase it. Then we have overcoming abuse. There can be physical abuse, there can be emotional abuse, there can be spiritual abuse, there can be sexual abuse. There's a lot of different kinds of abuse. Neglect can be a form of an abuse. There's a lot, I can go into it for hours and years and months. So there's a long time we can go into it. But anyways, if there's any sort of abuse that's causing these limitations, they need to be addressed, they need to be removed before we can advance to levels 2 and 3. Phobias, allergies. So phobias are kind of go with PTSD, and there's a trigger, but it's different. It's beyond a great fear. It completely debilitates or shuts a person down, gets them into flight, fight, or freeze, and they have no choice with it or no control. That needs to be addressed really, really abruptly, or really, really quickly, I should say, really efficiently, because of the abruptness that the phobias can come up. We need to meet it with efficiency, and we need to do the opposite and heal it, essentially. Allergies. The majority of allergies, in my experience, 90% of allergies can be healed, cured at the unconscious level. There are some things, just karmically, that people need the allergy to learn some sort of lesson in their life, but the majority, in my experience, can be, through a technique or several techniques, can be alleviated completely all the way to 100%, all the way eradicated, healed, or greatly reduced. Again, ready, willing, and able. Are we teaming up? How depends on that goes. And then healing relationships, especially the parents. The way men relate to other men has to do with, in a very deep level, the relationship with their father. The way men relate to women has to do with the relationship with their mother. The way women relate to men, father, women, mother. So the way we relate to people in life goes deeper to the relationship with our parents. So we really want to heal that. It's just very, 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 very important. We want to integrate in conflicting parts. We want to integrate those. So a part of me wants to do this, but a part of me doesn't want to do this. A part of me wants to go for my dreams. A part of me is scared and feels like I'm going to fail. I'm saying something that's very light, but you can fill in the blank. If you're torn and you're not moving forward because you can't run a race, if your legs are going in opposite directions, then you need to integrate those parts. If you don't know how to do that, you need to team up with someone like myself or one of my coaches. And then most importantly with healing is transforming the self-image from a negative to positive. How you view yourself in the world will directly determine the results you receive and achieve in the world. That is healing in a nutshell. So if anything in life, if you want to get to levels 2 and 3, the foundation is what needs to happen first. You need the foundation, otherwise you won't be able to move forward. That's just how it is. And that's how we get to the results. Level 2 is a strategy. The strategy is we always do an assessment. Doesn't matter if it's healing, structure, strategy, or mastery. We always start with an assessment and start to learn about how your mind works. Understand how your mind works. You got to learn about it, but then understand it in practical application, because if you don't use your mind will use you. Another way of saying that is if you don't program your mind the way you want to with consciousness in alignment with your core values, you'll just receive and continue to perpetuate the programs that school or religion or your parents, different systems gave you but didn't ask you. Maybe you weren't a co-creator in those systems. So it's time to upgrade and reprogram those as well. Learn how yourself works, learn how you work, and learn how others people's work, and learn how to accurately read people. This is more in the second structure level. And then we have listening to your communication, how you communicate. The way you communicate is the way you love. The way you love is the way you communicate. The way you communicate and love might not be the way somebody else you love communicates and loves. You might be speaking the same language, but not on the same track. So this is really important to understand yourself so you can actually make a success in the world, however you choose to define that. We want to upgrade all of your beliefs and all of your values as needed. In a way, metaphorically, if you kept the same shoes, if you continue to wear the same shoes you did when you were 5 years old, you'd have some sort of issues in your feet, right? Well, if you continue to have some of the beliefs that you might have when you were 5 or 7 or 9 years old or 13, but you haven't upgraded them because you didn't know how, because nobody taught you, because you have not yet learned it, you're also going to have issues. Have you or anybody you've known regressed in a situation, you act very childish or childlike in a certain situation? Maybe because you're crabby, maybe you didn't get your way, or the person who's crabby didn't get their way. Well, you ever thought about and wondered to yourself, why do people do that? Well, the answer, in a very short answer, is because they have a program, a belief or value that they created at a certain age that never got upgraded. And every time they get in a situation like that, whatever that situation is, they only can regress to their lowest common denominator in that area. It's very, very fascinating, but that also can be upgraded pretty efficiently. So you want to develop effective communication skills for your loved ones, your family members, yourself, your coworkers. That's a given. Develop and discover your life's purpose, which is built within you, and it always gives you feedback through your health, through your wealth, through your happiness, and through your ability to contribute. The more you can do all those things that you want, you're on your path. The more illness, disease, fear, and loneliness, it actually is away from your path, but you actually need those to be able to get to where you want to be, which is very interesting. We can talk more about it in a session or in one of my trainings. Develop multiple effective success strategies in anything that comes up in life. Think about it for a second. Wouldn't you rather be as resourceful as possible no matter what comes up in life? That's this level 2 structure and strategically communicating and planning in life. You need to have a picture in your mind and know what to do before you do it, which makes sense. And really want to create, maintain, and adjust your action plan for maximum success. That's level 2 in a nutshell. If you start off, we do the assessment and we find out there's some healing that needs to be done, then we go from there. If we come and you want it with a purpose and plan, you say you've done the healing before, but then you just can't move forward, I'm going to ask, or one of my coaches are going to ask you some questions. We're going to find out where that comes from. It's really, really self-explanatory once you get into it, very intuitive, but there's a reason why you are successful and there's a reason why you're not successful. And if you're open enough, you're ready, willing, and able enough to take a look, you will be successful. You will find out what that is, you will move forward, and you will evolve. The level 3 mastery, which a lot of people like to talk about and focus on, and some people are just terrified of. The level 3 on the top of the pyramid, the cherry on top with mastery, is really total life mastery, which means maximum health, wealth, success, and fulfillment. Whatever you choose to decide and how you define that, that's what we're going to work with you with. Make sure it's in alignment with your total being and all your values. Also, people that work on this top level are immune to fear, failure, and suffering. They don't suffer, they learn. They don't lose, they learn. 100% absolute on the fulfillment of your life's purpose and 100% flexible of how you're going to get there. These people are really focused on developing unconditional freedom, and it's what's called true enlightenment. The dissolution of the ego and the freedom to be what and who they came here to be without any limitations. Does not mean that there's not going to be challenges for people that reach the top of the pyramid. And it doesn't mean if you're working on the top of the pyramid that you might need to do some healing. So we have 3 different levels of coaching, because coaching is such a big word. And what do you think of when you think of coaching, right? It could mean so many different things. Well, here's 3 separate, distinct categories that we can do the assessment with, initial assessment, and then place you in one of the categories, and we go from there. And it really helps you to see where you're at, where you want to be, and what has been stopping you from getting there. But now you have a visual, now you have a plan, now you have a structure to help get you there. So in this next video, we will talk about the difference between your conscious mind and unconscious mind in the mental snowman.